Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting edition of On Point. And we want to say thanks to our parent company, Focus on Liberia. We're going to begin this particular project today by having or saying a major shout out to Nimba County for winning the coveted county meet. You know, I'm from Grand Bassa County. It looks like we didn't do well. Nimba County beat us to get to the final, and they were paid dearly by beating the Bassa people. But we have to give it to Nimba County. They came prepared. They were well prepared. They were well coached. They were well mannered. And they said it from the beginning that they were going to win the county meet, and they have done it. George, what says you about Nimba County and their support base?
Well, they won it, but I think they had an issue of luck on their side because Grand Bassa had a clear penalty denied them, and that was a measure. I don't know if it's luck or it was clear cheating on the part of the referee. There's some people out there. The verdict is out. You know, people are saying in the court of public opinion that Grand Bassa was robbed. But anyway, congratulations.
Listen, that's part of the game. You know, there are some calls you will get. There will be some calls you will not get. I'm from Grand Bassa County, but even if we have had our one penalty, they went on and scored another goal. They scored 2 goals, and we didn't score. So, as we are in Liberia, we have never accepted defeat. We have never congratulated the winner. So this time, it's something new. Let's congratulate Nimba County. They did an excellent job.
I thought the game ended 2-1.
2-0.
2-0?
That's correct.
Oh, but then I mean, it's cosmetic. It's okay. Sometimes, like you said, you know, in life, you win some, you lose some.
Excellent. Now, Liberia is full of news, current event. We got news from everywhere, and you and I had even a tough time picking the topics. But let's go to some of the topics that we agreed on that we need to discuss.
You know, we jump over. Let me just come.
Yeah, go ahead, real quick.
Important too. This the Senate voting to ask to remove the $30,000 from within the budget.
Okay, you like that topic? That's awesome.
No. We'll flow with what we have. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Let's go to number 1 on our list here. We are talking about the True We Party versus PAL here, the old order versus the new order here. We're going to discuss that, and it's all coming to play. We are looking at Musa Dean and Rodney Sear on one hand versus Serena Cephas and George Jala on the other hand. Number 3, the Solicitor General is linked to money laundering as far as the boss his boss is concerned. Rodney Sear is concerned. Musa Dean is concerned. There's a linkage here. They don't have proof, but they smell rats. Number 4 on this list is the Agriculture Minister. This is one person that we have hailed that George, we need to bring some institutional folks, people with managerial experience, people with some gravitas, and the whole country went amok, cheering George Weah, President Weah, for bringing Mrs. Cooper on. She has some managerial experience, and now the LACC have booked her as being one of the most corrupt ministries, and they are talking about some major corruption. A few weeks ago, the LACC grabbed the water and sewer, and they were accused of mismanaging and actually stealing about $800,000, and we were all over them. This one is mega millions, and we are sorry that we are not even talking about millions corruption anymore. We are now talking about the degree of corruption. And I know we wanted to talk about the letter from the NEC to the Liberty Party to Nyobli Kanga. We're going to discuss that. So what says you? Let's go, Mr. Tule. How are you doing? How is your end of the world?
Yeah, we want to say welcome to our viewers, those who take the time to be here with us. We appreciate you highly. So where are we starting?
Your
because
choice.
no,
Number
no,
one on the list is
no,
the old order versus the new order.
yeah, but I don't think there's any old order here, right? The issue between it's just is CDC is Serena Cephas has been a major player within the CDC. So coming in government, uh, you would know that there would be stratification between even in government between those who are stewards of the CDC and those who are just governmental appointees who are not lifelong members or who haven't been supporters of CDC. So I think in this situation, this is what we've seen. This is what we are seeing at play here. We are seeing CDC because Serena Cephas was there, even when everyone was shying away from CDC. Serena Cephas was with CDC. So as a result, he has I, one of the questions someone we ask, why didn't Josh Weah just make him justice minister? Because he's so partisan that making him justice minister will have, you know, casted a bad light on the justice ministry. But the fact is, equally so, even as Solicitor General, he's not just operating, he feels he's kind of untouchable because he has the support of the base of the CDC base. So he's operating in a way that basically insubordinates his boss. But this is what you get. This is your government. So uh this is your government, and your government, to be honest with you, is a dysfunctional one to a large extent. How can you have a solicitor general that doesn't relate to his boss, and he runs his own thing? He does whatever he wants to do. That is not within the statute. He's not an independent person. He's not there to carry out his own mandate. He carries out the mandate of the Ministry of Justice through directive from the Minister of Justice. So, but I mean, and you see in other places when the Minister of Justice raises such contention, you see that the boss, the President of the Republic of Liberia, will step in and say, "Hey, this is not how it's supposed to be." But guess what? If Serena Cephas is operating at the pleasure of Magay and Twe, nothing is going to come from within it. So we know the issue set, even the issue of corruption or alignment with money laundering. He's not the only one. Come on, nothing like that happens in Liberia without other people aware of it and giving it a green light. Serena Cephas will just be one cog in the wheel. This is Liberia. It has been like this for a very long time. It hasn't changed. So I don't want to, I know it's a terrible thing, but let's look at the substantive, the attack of not only the justice minister, but the attack of Rodney CA on the judge that sits in the hearing, that has the gavel in the hearing against what's his name, Alexander Cummings. That is not right. That is reprehensible. As a journalist, if you want to, we can come to a place. You see, here, this is opinion. This our show is an opinion show. You and I will agree that we have this show is an opinion show. People can choose to listen to what we say or not, right? But when I run a newspaper, I have to subscribe to the ethics of the profession of journalism. I have to make sure that I'm credible, that I'm authentic, all right, that people can trust my sources and or trust me as a source of news. Okay, so when I come to a place and I write something that casts aspersion, doubt over the person of a judge, it reminds me of Trump and the things he would say against a judge because of his heritage. Now you're saying something against a man that you can't even prove. You don't just cast things like that, especially when it comes to the court of law. You see, everything is not the same in life. All right, I can give you a common example. There can be allegations against you, Mr. Gaiman, for running the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication. I can come up easily and say, "Oh, Mr. Gaiman, there are rumors out there that Mr. Gaiman is corrupt." But if Mr. Gaiman is a judge sitting in a very, very important case, and I start to cast aspersion or cast doubt over his character without any substantive proof, they're not the same thing.
Well, but Mr. Tule, this is why when we were talking, we discussed. It seems to be like the Alice Cummings thing has become uh, a talk of war, and people are marking their territories. Now, the reason we came up with the idea here, when you look at the Musa Danes of the world, and you look at Radney CA, and you look at Cummings. Now, Radney CA says he had an idea that this was going on since either August or September. But he said nothing until Cummings got indicted. Then he turned around and said he wants the judge to recuse
Accuse himself.
himself from the case. And he wants Serena Cephas to be fired and removed from the case.
Yes.
So what we are seeing here is we are seeing the Musa Danes of the world, those that came up through the system, the old order. Those who came up through that system, who enjoyed the largesse of that system, including the Rodney CA himself. Remember, he only called CA, but he enjoyed the old order. Remember his uncle, Kenneth Best.
Oh, Mr. Gibman.
Yes, listen
That's
to this.
not
Kenneth
right.
Best runs a very credible newspaper where he served actually as an intern, where he came up with the idea. So you can see the difference between the Daily Observer, that when you just talk about journalistic ethics, when you look at the writings, the editings of the Daily Observer, it's quite different from what we have here. But then when you look at Rodney CA, you look at Musa Dean, and now this group, that particular group, they are supporters of Ellis Cummings.
And guess what? And guess what?
Go ahead.
Let me just come in quick. Rodney CA has been involved in this pay to play for a very long time, collecting money from Madame Salif, collecting money from Whole Futures, the guy at Maritime, collecting money from here, there, bearing or putting spin on news cycles, on headlines and stuff, just to be able to. Let me tell you the truth. If you ask me, there is no difference. Almost, I won't say there is no, because there's no vulgarity here. There is no, there's no rudeness with Rodney CA as compared to my friend and brother, but they're almost the same. They all peddle influence. They all use this news cycle to make themselves wealthy and well-to-do. So it's very simple. It's the same blackmailing stuff. Madam Salif and Rodney CA play that game. The only reason why you see it didn't work in this Crystal case is because I think maybe the money wasn't enough or whatever, or something happened. It didn't happen the right way. But Rodney CA is not credible when you ask me. You ever heard me mention his name here before as a source? Since you and myself been doing the show all these months.
I never heard you mention his name.
You never hear me mention him as a source.
That, I have never seen an auditor of a newspaper that puts himself in the middle of a case and requests the resignation of a presiding judge over a case, and saying that these people are basically persecuting Cummings, and he is trying to link those things to say that if George Jada recuses himself and Serena Cephas is fired, they should be replaced by somebody comparable, somebody likable, and in that case, the case can move forward. This is how blatant. This whole order is.
Yeah, let's go back a little bit, sir. You remember when Musa Bedete went on Spoon TV and say, the Dairy Liberty Party is ready to declare support. You remember after Dillon had that conversation on radio and he said he supports Joseph Boakai. And Bedete said he suspended Dillon and all that crap, right? And then Bedete said, the day we want to, declare our support for somebody, we'll come together as a political party and we'll do that declaration. You remember that statement he made on Spoon TV? All right. When Musa Bedete decided that he was going to, with him and 17 members or 16 or 17 members of the executive committee, you ever saw a full picture of that hall, the convention that he did in Niba County? You ever saw a full picture of that hall on social media, sir? No. Did you ever see that? You would never see it. You know the reason why? There were only a handful there. So they didn't want to show that they did not enjoy the support of the base of the party. Let me fast forward quickly. To hold that thing, Liberty Party, the other side of the party led by the political leader went to the court to pass an injunction on to stop that convention from, or that conference or whatever it was, that food eating gathering in Emma County from going forward. Okay. What happened? Immediately, Benedict then went to the court. They seen Serena Cephas. They went to the court and they got the judge. I don't know if it was the same judge or another judge, to pass another injunction allowing, or to pass, or to lift the injunction. Let me put it that way. Not to pass an injunction, but to lift the injunction that was in place. Okay. Did you hear Rodney C. question the actions of the judge? Or did you hear him question the action of the deputy at NEC?
No.
Did you hear him? You look at the blatant bias and the blatant lack of integrity and honor in the actions of Rodney C. to tell you that. And I can look, Mr. Gamer, if I sit down, I can go back and I can tell you how many times I am aware that Rodney C. took money from the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf people to bury cases. The same people that would do, but because at that time, let me tell you what happened. At that time, we were all trying to shine the light on the excesses, the malfeasance, and the abuses of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, right? So sometimes you say, oh, okay, all in the same trenches. So I would just let the one slide. So I'm guilty of doing that, letting a lot of those things slide, because I didn't want to be attacking people who, the few voices I felt that were in the vanguard of questioning Madam Sirleaf. But in the reality, both Costa and Rodney C. are the same difference. They all peddle influence. They all sell their voice to whoever will pay the highest money. The issue between him and Cummings right now is all about money. Cummings have a huge war chest throwing money around. So these guys are already taking pay. They own the payroll, with the exception of Costa, who he can't even stand the light that Cummings walks through. But the Rodney C. right now, Rodney C., the Spoon TV people, all of them, they all lack honor, because they all lack the kind of independent. Anyway, it's their right to, it's their right to support whoever they want to support. But objectivity too should be brought to light. The reality here is it is not right to cast a negative light on a judge and his kids, because you pick sides in the case. Let the case go on. Let the case go on. Question before you come in, Mr. Gilman. In this situation, the government of Liberia, profits from everything. If the case goes against Yombly, it affects the stability of the CPP. So government will be on the side. We allow the Benedict people and the Ellis Cohen people to get good rulings from NEC. If the case in the court goes against Cummings, on the other side, it stops Cummings. So on one hand, it's affecting the stability of the continuation of the CPP, and on the other hand, is there is no way Cummings can come out of this case clear. Whether it's George Joma or whoever sits there, as long as George Weah, McGill are in power, it's just simple as that. Because the reality here is they are abusing money and they are breaking established rules.
But what happens to I'm hearing Rodney C. Musa Dean used these words, and I read his letter. He says Serena Cephas is running a parallel justice ministry, and he's running around portraying himself as the chief persecutor. He said, in fact, he doesn't report to me. He doesn't take instructions from me. He takes his instruction from somewhere else.
But we all know where he takes his instruction from.
What?
Mr. Gimme, let's just be honest. We all know who holds the reins and the control of what he needs. Serena Cephas. It's not even George Weah. It's Nathaniel McGill. We all know. Nathaniel McGill is the one that caused the shot because George would rather play basketball or volleyball or go to the studio to go sing music than to face the work. Because why? Maybe he feels he has a very able lieutenant in Lieutenant McGill. But the reality for me is an abdication of his role as president of the Republic of Liberia.
I disagree. I disagree with you. The president is competent. The president is on the wheel. The president knows what he's doing. In fact, he has said it. He wants no hand in this. You can make all your accusatory remarks. You can accuse anybody. Let the law proceed. If Cummings did not sign or did not peel the signature of someone and attach it to somebody else, Mr. Ure said he has all proof beyond all reasonable doubt that he did not sign the particular document, especially the exit clauses that were added. He said when he signed the original document, those exit clauses that made it compelling that none of them could have left. And if they left, they could not use the insignias of the political parties, cannot use that, even the logos or even the mottos. If you're going to run, you're going to run as Ure, but you cannot run as ALP. So he put them in a box. And Ure is saying, who in the world, in their right mind, would say, in a free country, if I don't marry you, I will not marry anybody else. And he said it is a fraud, and he understands, he knows that Cummings did it. Cummings partially admitted to this. Now, Cummings has to prove that he didn't do this, though.
Mr. Gaiman, in that particular thing, it's just an issue of finding forensic professionals, investigators, to look at the signature and see if it was your signature, or could it be that you signed a document, and after his signature was affixed, that document was maybe scanned. They got ways to get it done, and then something added onto it, knowing that it's a signature. It can be done. All right, you can convert with the right tools. You can convert PDF documents back to Word after the PDF document has been completed. Make additions to the document, reconvert it back to PDF, print it out, and submit it. Okay, but like you said, it doesn't make any sense for anybody to say that reasonable men like Joseph Boca and what was his name, Bernard Ure, will allow themselves to be entrapped by affixing a signature to a documentation like that. And the truth about it is this: wherever a document contradicts a constitutional provision, which one supersedes?
The Constitution.
So that document, as far as I'm concerned, is null and void. It's null and void.
But
it's just a reality.
What's about the strategy that is being used now? Instead of dealing with the issues of the Cummings, is to link those who are in charge of this case with money laundering. Now he is saying that the Solicitor General and the judge are actually money launderers.
I don't know so much about the judge, but the Solicitor General is a reckless, careless man. Is a man who doesn't operate with security in mind. That's your opinion. No, it's not opinion. Look at the conversation this man had with Ellen Cochran. Mr. Gaiman, there's certain kind of positions when you come into as an individual, you gotta be very careful what you say.
What was that conversation with Cochran? What was the conversation with Cochran?
The conversation with Cochran was Cochran alluded to some human sacrifice or some craziness going on. I never I listened to the entire thing. I don't remember. It's been a while since I listened to it, but we can always go back to it. The issue on the ground here is having a conversation like that with her. You gotta look at yourself. And this is a woman who already recorded somebody. This person went on the limb to try to support her, went on the limb to try to stand there, be there for her when everyone else was coming after her. And what she did, she exposed this man in a very negative light. The only thing that blessed this man is because of his long-standing relationship. The president knows that when the rubber hits the road, that man was one of the few persons that she could count on. So she wasn't able to go against him. Okay, that her son. In other words, so nothing happened to him, but many other people who have lost their job, their place, their influence, and everything with her. Fast forward, Serena Cephas, the way he carries himself. I am not saying that he's a money launderer or whatever else, but they're saying that he had conversations with the defendant or with the alleged criminal, the alleged money launderer. There was a trail of conversation, phone calls between him and this person. You are supposed to be on the side of the government prosecuting cases. Why would you be having conversation with a man who is an indictee?
Yeah,
or a man who is under investigation?
But George, this is what we are talking about. This case, let's say the Cummings folks comprise of the Justice Minister and Rodney said, Serena Cephas has a legal point. In the Republic of Liberia, to get a call log, it has to be done by a court order. Nobody can get your call log, okay, to invade your privacy without the consent of a judge that will give that order. If a judge does not give that order, that means the call log is either fake, was manufactured, it's not true.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Well,
the only thing you say, it cannot be used as evidence in the case because it was gotten illegally. But I can tell you, I work at Lone Star, and I can tell you that based on relationships, some of those guys will just go there and just punch a few commands and download your entire call log.
We know this is.
I'm just saying to you. I'm just saying to you.
In the
it
court
is
of
that
law,
simple.
You cannot use that, and like he's saying, if you want,
but that doesn't mean, Mr. Gibman, that doesn't mean the call log is not real. Now, let me say something. In many cases in America or in the West, especially in America, you must have known that people have walked. I'll give you a common example. In Canada here, there's a big mobster, a big criminal. Guy was dangerous, running syndicates all around the world. They went to arrest him. And I think one of the police officers knew the case law in Canada. And they decided that they were going to let this guy go scot-free. So what happened was, when they got to his house and they arrested him, he was in the living room with the other people they arrested. I mean, this is a mansion. They were taking pictures of all his belongings, and they took a picture of a box that had 4 very expensive watches. So after they took the picture of the evidence, one of the police officers took one of the watches. So later on, when the watch could not be accounted for in evidence, the case was squashed. I'm telling you, the guy walked just on that technicality. Did it void all his criminality? No. It was on a technicality. So in this situation, it was in case law, the evidence cannot be admitted into evidence, or the law cannot be admitted into evidence. Let me put it that way. We agree to that, but that does not negate the fact that the calls were made. Well, so in that situation, it may not be used to indict, but the knowledge is there that this guy is he can be trusted because he's having conversation with somebody on an indictment.
Yeah, but
he should be having conversation with the person's lawyer, not the person himself.
Yeah, but isn't this the same strategy that we're talking about? The Cummings folks and their team have decided, well, if you want to indict our man, then we are going to indict you and find you guilty in the court of public opinion. So to put pressure on you, you might well just leave this case alone. But what the case law doesn't say is what that call was made. Everybody knows this. If it is proven in a court of law that the call law was, even though the call law doesn't tell you what they talked about, but it will tell you when they called, the time of the call, who made the call, or where that call came from, and the different tower that it hit. We have all that. It won't tell you what was said.
No.
Now I got to give you one though. If it is true that the prosecutor was calling the indictee after the case had gone to court. It says a lot.
Yeah.
But again, like I say, like the man was saying, the only person that would have had access to that at this point has to be my boss, who is Musa Dean, who is actually siding with Rodney C. to put pressure on Serena Seaford and the judge to recuse themselves from this case because he says they are tainted character. They are no good for you to bring a sitting judge in chamber.
And look, let me tell you something. Rodney, he's trying to use his bullet pulpit, which is Front Page Africa, to get Seaford to back off. But they forget to know this guy is a hard scrabble guy. He's not going to back off. You can get the only person that can get Serena Seaford to stop doing what he's doing is the president of the Republic. Look, because even Maggie can fire Seaford. It has to be President Weah. Okay? It has to be President Weah. And this guy, like I said to you, when everyone else was afraid to go to that place because Manaseli was in power and they were afraid of casting a negative light on themselves so their contracts wouldn't go through or they will be able to maintain some rapport with the Unity Party-led government, Serena Seaford was going to CDC compound. Serena Seaford doesn't care about anybody. If he wants to do something, he will do it. So in this situation, they should just forget about it, and they should just prepare. They should just prepare a verifying defense for Cummings and go to court and face the case. Because if you think that you will use whatever you want to use, take a typical example. What does it speak to you that the Minister of Justice will wait until such a time to be able to express this misgiving that the Solicitor General runs a parallel ministry?
4 years into the administration. That's
4 years into the administration. It's not something that just happened just now. They've been undermining him from day one. The reality is he's just a figurehead. They don't relate to him. They don't talk to him much or whatever else. No. The president, you say the president is up to, the president is not, the president is like Nero. He's fiddling while Rome is on fire. The president is in charge at the helm of power. In actuality is this guy. It's simple. Everything is in disarray. Look, this nonsense, it can happen to many places, but not the Ministry of Justice. Not the Ministry of Justice. It's an indictment on President Weah and his whole corps of officers.
But listen to this. Listen, not to cut you off. When you talk about Rome being on fire, when we were talking about the killings that were going on at some point, maybe a year and a half ago, everybody in the CDC government were looking up to the Justice Ministry. Musa Dean, what is going on? You have captured, you have evidence on folks. We have not found one indictment. So there was this cry in the court of the CDC that somebody is trying to undermine this government. Somebody that has the power and the authority to bring some sanity to all this chaos that's going on in this country. The Justice Minister have not spoken. The NSA director, those two have not spoken to the issues when they were talking about national security. We are talking about folks that the Justice Ministry should have prosecuted, and yet and still, we have all these cases piled up, and the Justice Minister is doing nothing. So there were people within the CDC that believe that this man is either a mole or he's a plant that wants to undermine this administration. So if Serena Seaford took upon himself to take on some of these cases, like he said, he made it clear. Serena Seaford says, it is I who fought to bring this case, this indictment. It is not the Justice Minister, it is I who brought this indictment. So that debunk what this minister is saying. It is I that forced this. In fact, he said the amount was $489,000. That's almost $500,000. That's a lot of money that is coming in. That's just one of the many cases that we are seeing. all these. I think I talked to you about this before. In 2010, when I came back from Liberia, everywhere I've gone, every part of the interior that I've gone, I have seen these huge banks everywhere with unemployment up to 80%. Nobody has no money. There's no jobs. There's no kind of major financial institution providing jobs and money all over the place. Yet and still, all the mega banks are all over the place. And I'm wondering, I was in Buchanan, I went to one of the banks. I was there, I think I might have been the only person there, GT Bank or whatever they call it. I was the only one there for almost an hour. Nobody came in there. But they have a huge staff, huge operation. And I'm wondering, how do these people get paid? How do you operate these huge operations
Ahead.
in these places? It has to be more than just a few dollars here and there. This is major, major. And I think if this is just the scratch, this is the tip of the iceberg. I think it is collectively in our purview, our responsibility of Liberian to make sure that we get to the bottom of this. And it shouldn't
Yeah,
come up only when Cummings is indicted. Then all of a sudden now we have money laundering issue in the country. What says you?
yeah. I There are many things to this. The commercial banks act at they function as payers for different organizations. People, they run the payroll for these people to pay their staff. Or you have Lamco or what Meta still having a staff in Buchanan. Besides that, you have NASCORP having a staff, Lone Star Cell having a staff, uh, some other institutions lack, okay, and other people having the port authority and other people in the place. So even though you don't see that much activities, but they do that just to be able to be in play, so to speak. But when it comes to the timing in terms of the allegation of money laundering to Serena Seaforth and stuff, is a deflection scheme. It's a deflection. It's trying to take attention away from Cummings. That's what it is. And people want to portray Cummings as the squeaky clean. I'll tell you something. Cummings could have been, he was squeaky clean before he got involved in post WIA presidency campaign activities. Right now, he's not squeaky clean. Right now, he's desperate. And right now, he's not operating in any kind of level of integrity or honor. He's all he wants. He's single. He and his people, their minds are set on Cummings being president of the Republic of Liberia. That's what this thing is about. And as a result, they will walk over anybody. They will do anything they want to do just to get there. And they're making almost so much noise. I see them by the time you create one post, I don't even bother to go back and forth with them anymore. I create a post, I just stay away. I'm already very busy. I come there, I see them, their comments, their attacks, and everything. I just laugh. I said, they're newbies, they're new fights. They're just new to this game. We've been in the game since Facebook became a thing. We fought, we know how we'll call one another and say, hey, Mr. Gamer created a page, or now they have, or how you call it, WhatsApp groups. All right. So they just say, oh, Gamer created a page. I'm on that page right now. I will just mention you so you can come there. Or just go to Gamer page. Just follow what I have. So they come and back each other up. It's so comical, so childish and arsenal. So I just look at them and say, these guys, they are jokers. Because the reality here is this: selling Cummings on Facebook will not make him president. That's just the truth. He doesn't have a fixed constituency. He's not running on ideological basis. He's trying to corrupt anyone he can corrupt with money just to be able to get support. That's not how you build support. That's not how you build support. You build support based on ideology. You build support based on people trusting what you have to offer and following. People come after you because of your likability, your dependability, your credibility. That's why they come after you. And Cummings, that's not what I'm seeing in the Liberian politics right now. So coming after Cephas, I said it to you, Mr. Gibman. You see, you gotta pick your battles. Serena Sivas is a guato papi. He not afraid of anything. I'm telling you, when everybody were afraid to go on CDC compound because Madam Sally was, her people were cutting people off. Last day is like, even if you're there, that's how even Eugene Nagbe managed to abandon CDC and go to Unity Party. Because it was like, if you really want to make it, you got to come our way. Otherwise, we will marginalize you, we'll cut you off, we'll limit you, we'll frustrate you. Serena Seaforth was there picking up the cases and going after government, suing government, fighting for those who were downtrodden and everything. You think I'm not, you see, I'm not saying that. I'm also in the same breath saying Serena Seaforth is a reckless man, I tell you. But I'm also saying that he has established his bona fides with the CDC crowd that nothing Ronnie C. or Musa Dean can do to Serena Seaforth. Nothing.
Well, let's go to one of your pet peeves. Well, maybe not you, but when the heydays of the CPP and the opposition, they had this claim against the WEAC government of not being inclusive. That the WEAC government wanted one time either a sedition or you didn't get anything. Some folks say not only you have to be a sedition, but if you were not from the Southeast, then you will not get a job in the WEAC government. You will not be looked at. All of these, but then when you look at the makeup of the government, when you look at the amount of representation from Lofa County in this government, it debunks the idea that if you're not from the Southeast, you cannot get a job in this government. And then when you look at inclusion, even the sedition, they are mad with the administration that they are more outsider in the government than those who brought this government to power. So there is this dichotomy. The president is between a rock and a hard place. In so doing, Madam Cooper was recommended from the CPP, basically from the opposition, that this woman was squeaky clean. In fact, she had a rice industry. They didn't say farm, they said a rice industry. And based on that, they recommended her highly to President Weah to appoint her at the ministry. Now, mind you, in the entire government, there are two ministries that are very, very lucrative. Number one is agriculture. Number two is gender, where the whole world is trying to educate women. Then on the other hand, the whole world is trying to feed itself. And where do they put the money? In agriculture.
That list is not complete.
Huh?
That list is not complete.
Well, it's not complete, but we're talking about the actual, the lucrative, where the entire world has everything. If you were,
it's still not complete. The first on the list is not
those two industries,
but they're not the first on the list.
You're talking about some people talk about like public works. People talk about those are funds that the international community can actually track to some degree. But when it comes to educating women and the freedom, liberation of women,
what's about health?
You talk about the country being, we talk about food insecurity and all of those things. Those two ministries tap those. Now here we are. They recommended their darling, this Cooper woman. They came up with this resume of Cooper. They sent it to me. She said she worked at the World Bank, and Liberia is a new thing. Even if you were a janitor at the World Bank, once you say I work at the World Bank, everybody said she's qualified. She came in and she got the job. A friend of mine, Mr. Adigibi, called me and said, Jerome, this is my girl, watch her, she's good. And I said to him, this is what you said before, and you are an NPP man. I do not want to believe anything you tell me. So we laughed about it. The first act from this woman was to give a grant for $300,000 to a gentleman that I know to study the nutritional value of cassava. $300,000.
A grant?
Well, not grant. It was a contract. I call it
contract.
grant because she gave
But those studies have already been done. They published
but
studies already.
we all know that. And then secondly, the World Bank, the world is now going to mechanize farming to be able to feed herself. So they invested a huge sum of money in machinery and everything. And the warehouse in Liberia was packed with brand new machinery. The woman king, her first proclamation was she was no longer interested in mechanized farming. She wanted to go to subsistence farming, and she preferred small tools. I called Adigby. I said, this woman is a fraud. She is not on board. She has no idea where this world is going. The plan.
Can I ask you one
Yes,
question?
go ahead.
Is she an agronomist?
No.
Did she study agriculture?
No.
Okay. All right. Your
So
government decided that they're going to appoint somebody who claims to be a farmer, but not a technocrat, who knows agriculture, who knows how to harness the resources of agriculture out there. Like I'm telling you right now, she said she wanted to study the nutritional profile of cassava. Sierra Leone has cassava initiative already done. The IAEA have cassava or studies on cassava already done. The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, have already studied the taking cassava through various stages of induced mutation. And you're talking about, why would she even do that? Because she doesn't even know that out there is a treasure trove of information that international institutions have. Already studies have already been done in Nigeria. FIRO, the Federal Institute of Research, have already done studies on cassava. Ghana have done extensive studies on cassava. Ivory Coast. So for you to tell me that she's even having that conversation or even allowing such a grant to be given to somebody to study nutritional profile on cassava, it means she is not a professional, one. Secondly, she's not an academic. I'm not saying if you choose a professional or academic, then they will do the best job. But Ministry of Agriculture, one of the most important functions of the ministry is research implementation. Go ahead, sir. Sorry for cutting you off, but I'm just saying, don't blame her.
You are right.
Don't blame her. Blame your president.
Well, that's true too. We have to take ownership here because I'm coming to the meat of this. When that story came to light, she went on, obviously, Front Page Africa and other news organs, and she began to hire them to do her image and all of that. And she came up with, she says, she even hung herself even more when she said she discovered that Talbot has set aside 300 to 500 acres in Bomi for farming, I think curry or something like that, research. And she said she never knew about it, but she just found out that Talbot had this initiative going. This is a woman born and raised in Liberia and said she was a farmer, and they didn't know that Talbot had initiated all of these things. Not only that, but recently, is that the GAC that does the auditing and all of that? LACC. They did an audit.
GSC, right? GSC.
Yeah, GSC did an audit, and they found out that the ministry is one of the most corrupt. And some of the things out of that, it blows my mind that 20 vehicles belonging to the Ministry of Agriculture were missing. 20. We're not talking about few dollars. We're talking about 20 vehicles. I'm coming to this. 20 vehicles got missing. She has no clue what happened to those vehicles. Her deputy minister hired his wife and his mother at the ministry. The deputy minister for administration gave the entire public relations contract without bidding to her husband at OKFM. I mean, we are talking about the entire ministry, the entire hierarchy.
Okay,
has been
Mr.
audited
Gaiman.
and found that these people are as corrupt as they can come. And worst of all, to put the cherry on top of this cake, the lady gave her company, the rice company that she ran before she came, she gave herself a lucrative contract and she signed as owner and minister.
Yeah, but Mr. Gaiman, this speaks to the larger issue. This speaks to the fact that who vetted her? What are the criteria? The first question, let's go back a little bit. What is the president's vision for in terms of food security? I told you we don't have an agriculture policy in Liberia. I've said it to you many times. Have you had any conversation with your CDC people and say, hey, we don't have an active agriculture policy? Let me enumerate again what I mean by that. The bulk of our arable land in Liberia is on a contest right now between food crop production and cash crop production. There's a desire by many people going back into the villages and towns to start planting, even though what I've come to realize, most of those farms are dying because those who started the project did not realize what the financial how you call it, the financial engagement or the financial demands that those farms will have on them. So what they would do is that they plant rice and they interplant rubber, they interplant palm. Though half of the farms, about half, are surviving. So what they're doing now, what's happening in Liberia is that our arable lands, meaning those farm lands that are maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour walk away from the villages, are being planted by cash crops that will hold the land for maybe 100 years. So now those who want to engage in food crop production, we have to walk maybe 1 hour away, 2 hours away from the village in the morning to get to lands that they can or how you call it, cultivate for rice production. What is happening in Liberia? Nobody's talking about it. I saw the classic case in Sanrio district where all the arable lands were planted with rubber, and now they wanted to go into the neighboring district to start planting rice. The people said, no, this is our land. You have to go back to your district because you can't plant rubber in your farm and come and plant rice on my side. You see? So we don't have a policy that addresses this, that the Ministry of Agriculture say, hey, in these places, nobody can plant this. People just go ahead and plant whatever they want to plant. At the end of the day, we affect our ability to produce food to feed ourselves. Also, we don't have a policy that says let me tell you what the woman did. The woman used you. The woman can speak. She speak the language that you want to hear. All right. I would do. But you know what happened with her? Let me tell you what happened with her. Easily. She met an entrenched system of corruption that she yielded to. She didn't take corruption to the Ministry of Agriculture. You remember what happened with Crystal? It was the Chinese that went to Madame Salif and said, Madame Salif, we can't work with your Minister of Agriculture anymore. You got to remove him from there. Otherwise, we will not give you any funding for agriculture. It was the Chinese that went to Madame Salif and said, Crystal, hey, corruption, pass mark. We don't want to work with him anymore. That's the only reason why she removed Crystal from there. In this situation, I'm telling you, the infrastructure of corruption exists in government, in every ministry, even in the presidency. The infrastructure is there. At the Ministry of Transport, the infrastructure is there. That, when I mean infrastructure, the system of corruption exists. So anybody coming in, even a maverick reformer, if the person is not a hard-headed person, the person will yield and cave in, and the person will join the crew. That's what's affecting Liberia. The infrastructure of corruption. When the president comes into office, they come and give him the briefing, how much he makes How much goes to the presidency from a gallon of gasoline, fuel, or kerosene that is sold in the government? How much goes to the presidency from a bag of rice that is sold in the country? How much goes to the presidency from this area? How much go to the presidency from that area? All those information at the individual ministry, at the Ministry of Commerce. When a new minister comes in, he's not aware of all these things. The old staff will give him the rundown. They will tell him what his choppings are, so he can open his eyes and begin to enjoy these different things that are coming, these different extracurricular activities that he's supposed to get involved with to feather his nest. Like you said, at the ministry, the most lucrative ministry in Liberia is not agriculture, it's Ministry of Health. But the Ministry of Agriculture is also highly lucrative. And the reality here, like you said, there is no enough monitoring evaluation in the Ministry of Agriculture. So as a result, when the minister comes in and she has, look at it like a deputy say, you said the deputy again, don't forget, these are people coming, non-seditious coming to work against seditious that are already there. The first thing they will remind you that you are not a sedition, that you are just there, you are benefiting from the largesse of the presidency. He thought it wise to send you there, but this is our thing. We are from the party. So you will start butting your heads against these things. And early on, and somebody will let you know that maybe Miguel is my patron. Maybe Tue is my patron. Maybe Jefferson Koji is my patron. I'm from the, like we say, I'm from the youth wing of the CDC. So as a result, Jefferson Koji is my patron. You can't touch me. So the person will wait, and you will say, "Oh, why Joseph Boga did not resign from government? Who resigns easily? You know, Musa Belete has been dysfunctional as a minister, but the fact is, the man's a minister. He got armed bodyguards. He got a car that he doesn't buy fuel for. He doesn't repair. He doesn't do anything. And I'm very sure they're giving him money for fuel, money for this. I'm not saying that he should stay there, but these are the things. And again, being there, he can help some people. He may not be able to do everything, but he can help some people. So it's difficult to leave this position. The thing is, that woman, she met up with a system of corruption that she was able, because she's Liberian now. We all Liberians. If care is not taking,
it's a too late. You and I know this.
Mm-hmm.
When we get into government, our job, like you say, I would give a guy from Balatwai, a guy from Foya, who is coming into the system barefooted, they need a few dollars here and there. But Tule, Gaiman, and these are people, and we talk about Mrs. Cooper, who says she had her own business and she said she was a millionaire before she came onto the job. If this is true, then what, how much money does one person need to survive at the expense of the nation? How can the agriculture minister give herself a lucrative contract, sign as the CEO of a company and the minister at the same time? What in the world? I can only tell you, Mr. Tule,
she should be fired.
It is a gross disregard for the rule of law. It is a gross disregard for your fellow human being and a person who lacks integrity, period. Because somebody, when you and I go to a job, okay, whether you are underpaid or not, the least you want to do is to leave a mark, a legacy. When you leave, you can say all you want to say about Tule, but he was here, at least he left this behind. But you cannot go and say this. I mean, some of these things are unheard of in the West, not even in some African countries. It's unheard of. I never heard of these things before.
Mr. Gaiman, African countries, we are notoriously dysfunctional because we have other considerations instead of professionalism. My issue here with this woman is the fact that, like I said, I placed the name first at within the CDC, like government, but it reflects on one thing. You got to find an eclectic mixture of professionalism, vision, drive, reform mindedness in a person that you are sent to a dysfunctional ministry, that the Ministry of Agriculture. Ministry of Agriculture had never functioned right since the war. Before the war, a little bit. Since the war. During turbo time, excellent. After turbo time, for a while on the do, excellent. Not excellent per se, 100%, but at least they were there, they were visible, they were doing some things, because on the do, you had the ADPs, carry were functioning, water were functioning, all the different places were functioning, they were doing stuff. Now, all the money that comes in, they look for ways to eat it. I told you about one time on the Madden Selly, they were doing a food expo in Vonjama. Those jokers crossed into Guinea, Masanta, to go and buy produce. The people market day, they went and bought some of the best produce they could find. Pick the biggest plantains, the biggest cassava, the biggest this, the biggest, the biggest beta ball pepper, whatever they could find in the market, to come back to Vonjama to come and display it. Because at that time, people were just finding their way back into Lufa County. And you couldn't really boast about farms, that the kind of farms that existed when before the war. So as a result, they did what they could do. But the reason I'm alluding to this is that ministry has been hopeless for a very long time. Like the Ministry of Education is another very hopeless ministry too. And it's like nobody wants to say these things. Nobody want to talk about these things, because it's like the most important thing right now is only the political thing, just to castigate or to cast aspersion or to talk about George Weah, his lack of ability, whatever. George Weah did not create the problem of the Ministry of Education. He did not create the problem of the Ministry of Agriculture. No. The only thing I hold is that when you won the presidency and you come there, you should be at least able to address some of these cardinal issues. Taking a square peg like Mrs. Cooper and putting her in a round hole. Somebody owning an independent farm. Let me tell you, it's more about business mindedness than technology or having the technical know-how. It's different, Mr. Gimmon. Running a farm and running the Ministry of Agriculture is different. Ministry of Agriculture, you like a quarterback. You must know the technology. You must know the lingua franca. You must know the terminologies. You must know the institutions that are trailblazing, so that you can be able to liaise and network with them. You must know what the needs of the farmers are. Anybody want to tell me that you want to do anything serious about agriculture? The first step is to recapitalize the Agricultural Cooperative Development Bank. If you can't get that bank recapitalized, you're joking. Because farmers need access to funding to be able to do anything substantial as farmers. So all these different things are just cosmetic. Then you take a woman who doesn't even know what needs to be done and you put her there because she runs a farm, because she can plant rice and harvest rice. That's not what running the Ministry of Agriculture. The Ministry of Agriculture is about technology. The Ministry of Agriculture is technical. All right. Somebody must have the technical know-how. Somebody must know what needs to be done, know about policy. Like, for instance, Mr. Gaiman, even you, for instance, okay, I won't say you per se. Let me just forget about you. But what I'm saying is, a lot of Liberians, I won't use you, sorry, but a lot of Liberians are not aware of what existed turbo time in terms of agriculture. That's just the truth.
Most of those I believe it, because the lady said it. She said she didn't know that Toro have established a huge mega project in between Bomi and the Cape Mount, and she didn't even look at the inventory of things that we had. But we are running against time here, as I can see. Let's read a few comments, and then I want you to touch on real quick before we go the letter from NAC to Nyobli Kanga, and then we can close out. Do we have any comments real quick?
I think they're busy. Yeah, okay, while we're waiting for the comments, let me say this to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, we got Mr. Give me your read because my throat kind of wraps it right now.
Okay, this is from Mr. Nicholas Davis. What is it? Stanton Cummings' hands are clean. 75% of Cummings' money he stole it from Liberia with Robert Salih at Dokar. Mr. Cummings was a member of the board. He and Robert Salih broke down our oil company, and Madam Salih took the blame. That's
Nicholas Davis.
Yeah, wow. Nicholas Davis. I didn't know that he was on our board. We're going to double check to make sure. And then we have another David here. This is new one, Mafierson David. Another David. He said, what did the president say about this lady in the State of the Nation's address? He said she is the best he has for the job, and therefore urged the Senate to confirm her full speed. What did you say, Mr. Gaiman, knowing that she is not an agricultural? You two are a fraud, chief. Oh, no. Okay, we are going to facing David again. Let your partner list the names of government officials who are not Seditian or Southeasterners. We're going to check on that and give it to you, my friend. I know there's a lot of people who are not
no.
We'll check on that. But, you know, everybody's not from the Southeast. This is Mr. Famula. Famula and Mr. Gaiman is a part of the government CDC government. You see, he said, I am a part of the CDC government.
Yeah, you are.
We're going to check on that, too, to see whether it's true. Christopher A. Kamara. Rodney is in the pocket of Cummings. We know that. The cheap undercover propaganda will not work. I believe it is not going to work. Mr. Thule have exposed him already. William King, my brother from California. What about the minimum of agriculture deal with Afriland Bank for loan collateral for rice processing? Is that not a start? Thoughts? Mr. Thule, I think you know more about that than I do. Mr. Christopher Kamara again. Liberians, open your eyes to ANC. They are going to create more problems for Liberia. We know that. I think Mr. Thule have commented on that. He alerted everybody to open your eyes to the cat violence. They will want to win at any cost. Dave Cooley, George, my brother, you are right on point. Mr. Thule, they say you are on point. That's the name of this show. You are on point. You got your explanation right. Okay, we got Aliketo Zanik, Health Ministry also. You are right. Health Ministry has a lot of money, and possibility of corruption is abound. Cristiano King, Rodney is trying to blackmail the judge and the lawyer that's involved in the Cummings case. That's exactly, I mean, you got it. I think Mr. Thule said it. For you to ask for the prosecutor and the judge to resign the case is preposterous. Samuel Bravo Wood, the weird government is unserious government. I mean, that's your opinion. That's why you are entitled to it. Samuel Bravo Wood again. Mr. Thule, Europe is finding a way to leave the CPP. That's the reason all this trash is coming about. Okay. Well, if you want to leave, according to the document, you can't leave. Judah Farr, nonsense. Cummings didn't say that. Cummings didn't say what? Samuel Bravo, Cummings is the real man and nothing will come out of the case. They are still looking for witnesses all around. Okay, we'll see. Tokpa Kwe. Thule, are you objective? It seems from all indications that you are highly prejudiced against Cummings from all your diatribes. You can say all you want to say about Mr. Thule, but this one, he was on point today. It is so glaring that his supporters will ask the judge and the prosecutor to recuse themselves so the case can go to somebody else. Livingstone said Front Page Africa is trash and have no credibility. That's your opinion. Akwe Baguyu, CPP is dead. There you go. We knew that from the very get-go. There is no such thing as CPP. Baguye says Councillor Dean is not forced to be minister. Mr. Thule said it.
Right.
The job is so lucrative. Who wants to leave those kind of job? Even they're beating you, but it's very lucrative. Go ahead, Mr. Thule.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll take the last one, and then well, there's something I really wanted to respond to.
Okay. Lamin Famule, even before CDC, he was with George Weah from Claratown. I think you're talking about Mr. Thule. You're talking about
Serena Cephas.
Serena Cephas. Okay, Mr. Tule, let's go ahead.
Yeah,
You
okay.
want to address some?
The issue William King talks about
Mm-hmm.
some rice processing funding loan through Afriland Bank. Mr. King, you remember when the issue that the people accused my friend and brother Ben Sanville of taking money when the government said that they were making some money available to business people? The good thing about it is that just before I left Liberia, Mr. Gimme, my friend, I won't call his name, told me about that loan and told me I had a clear path because I was a business owner. I had a clear path to go to that loan. I chose not to take that loan. I went and took a loan from the same Afriland Bank. Because I was that was my bank, and they were processing everything. They all my payments, they process everything for me. So if I wanted an injection of cash to get a container of paint on the ground to get whatever on the ground, I would go to Afriland Bank. I'd rather go there and pay them than to deal with government, because what Ben Sanvi faced, my name was going to be in that same list, because they would look for ways to to discredit anyone in the opposition. But the situation with Afriland Bank is this: if the government wants to help farmers, it's not just for rice processing. We're talking about rice cultivation. We're talking about support the farmers for implements, for the right kinds of seeds, the right kinds of technology that they need to be able to increase and improve their yield. And then government looks at her quota and say, okay, we're importing 150 million worth of rice every month, every year, and we want to make sure that within maybe our 5 year pilot is to make sure that we start to produce $50 million worth of rice locally on the market, and that money will be a direct injection into the lives of farmers. And you can use a commercial bank that is not owned by the government, because only and then the thing is it's not publicized. There is no enough information getting out there to the people to say yes, we have a scheme to be able to. So it's like they use it again as a political ploy. That's the thing that's going on with Afriland Bank. Before rice, it was with cocoa and coffee or cultivation. I know about it because I'm a bank. They told me, oh, you got a cocoa farm, we can give you funding. And the government, the ministry, whatever ministry that time, Manafseli, through the Central Bank of Liberia, have made some money available through the commercial banks, all right, so that people who want to do farming can get hold of these loans to be able to help with their farms and stuff. A lot of people took those monies and they never paid them back. A lot of people took those monies and never paid them back. When I talk about the recapitalization of the Agricultural Cooperative Development Bank, it's not just about loans. It's about establishing a whole system and structure of agriculture that farmers will be collectivized into cooperatives for their own benefits. Then they can have more bargaining power. Then the cooperative can represent the individual farmers who don't have the collateral or who don't have the cash flow in terms of having bank accounts and everything. The local cooperatives can represent them, take the money from the bank, give it to the farmers, do M&E, which is monitoring evaluation, making sure the farmer is implementing the based on the agreement that the farmer is using the money for the purpose they want to use it for. So there's a lot that goes into that. And you can't do that with the commercial banks. So as a result, it shows that you are joking. Because the technology, what we're talking about, it is not by mistake. These things are already established all across the world. Everybody are aware how these things are done. So if they really, really, really want to do something, do it the right way. Quit all these things. It's just a way to steal money. I'll tell you something. The money that is produced, put there for rice processing, Mr. Gaiman, go there and go evaluate, or go and not evaluate, go and audit the process. Go and see who are those who went and provided paper documentation to sign for the money to process rice. You'll find out that most of the people in government, they see agriculture ministry people that you're talking about, including the minister herself. All of them, they now use different companies to get some of that rice processing money from Afriland Bank.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to give me 1 minute of closing? Let's get out of here. I know our next guys are coming on.
Okay, so now there's another issue where Cummings is being railroaded. Cummings is being attacked by the CPP, or the other people in the CPP and the government of Liberia. And I would say this: if Cummings went about establishing his political party, which is already established, what I'm saying, establishing in the sense that establishing all the county offices, working for individual counties, creating teams, going out there selling Cummings, doing a complete PR, all right, putting the why Cummings, a compelling argument to the people. Why Cummings? You got almost 2 years to do that based on his ideological stance. This is who Cummings is, and this is what he will bring to the table if we make him president. Okay, he got 2 years to do that. If that was what he was doing, let me tell you something. Nobody will bother Cummings. But what Cummings is doing, using cash to subvert political operators from other political parties into his own, it will bring a backlash, and that's what he's experiencing.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was George Tully. We ask that you come back next Sunday for a very spirited debate on issues, current event in Liberia. We want to send a shout out to Nima County for winning the county meet. I want to know, since the young baby was raped in Nigeria, we have not heard anything from this government, from my government, about the ambassador. Dr. Conte should not be at that place. The chairman or the director for water and sewer, not heard anything from this government, was captured in corruption. The water and sewer management has to go. The agriculture now being caught in corruption, she has to go. The NEC was caught in corruption. She also has to go. Ladies and gentlemen, same time, Sunday we'll be here. As always, we say, we are all Liberian, no matter your stand. We thank you for tuning in. See you next week.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.